Hi there, everyone. My name is Steve Murray. Um, I'm speaking to you from Johannesburg in South Africa, and I eventually got around to doing this, and I'm glad it took me almost 2 weeks to do that, because it gave me the chance to obsess properly and like I normally do, and think about what I wanted to say. I actually 2 weeks ago put this up on my LinkedIn group, and because I really felt that we needed to have a conversation. I wanted to have a conversation around healthcare, not sick care. And I don't know if it's just me, but it reminds me a little bit of movies I used to watch in the 80s and in the early 90s growing up, um, and there was often central to the plot was the discovery of a message from the past. I think Star Wars was in there and a few others, and it was either a sort of mythical kind of figure, or it was a really harassed looking guy with like a laboratory in the background, and he was kind of going, listen, if you're hearing this, something insane has happened, and the world is never going to be the same again. Well, yeah, if you are listening to this, something insane has happened, and the world will never be the same again. So, why do I want to have this conversation? Who am I? It's just some crazy person who's lost his mind. For the last 34 years, I've worked in the prevention side of healthcare. So let me just quickly define that. Here, I'll put something up here. There are two books that have changed my life. The one on the left-hand side is called The Complete Heart Recovery Guide. It was the first book that changed my life. It was given to me by a colleague of mine. Her name at that stage was Georgia Mendelis. Today she is Dr. Georgia Torres. And that book is written by Dr. Neil Gordon, a South African cardiologist, and today the founder and the CEO of Intervent, who we have the absolute privilege of working with. And I read that book from cover to cover. At the time, I just finished preparing my career in elite athlete conditioning, which was really what I was doing at the time. And Georgie gave me this book to read, and I read it cover to cover, and I knew that I had found something I really wanted to do. And so my journey into the world of lifestyle modification, physical activity, healthy choices, I suppose wellness, started then. And 34 years later, I'm still doing that. So why am I so mad? Why am I so angry? And feel that we that this conversation is something that needs to be had. I'll tell you why. 2 weeks ago, I kind of started to look around me and see what was happening, and okay, here's the simple facts. Approximately 120,000 people will die today, and the same number tomorrow, and around the same number the yesterday, and they will die from health conditions that are completely and utterly preventable. So what I have been busy with for the last 34 years could prevent those deaths. And and here's the sort of what I realize is pretty self-righteous of me, because the reason why this is suddenly so topical is those same health conditions turn COVID-19 from, yes, a very, very nasty a virus make you really sick, it turns it into a killer. So if you present with, you get sick with this virus, but you have the same symptoms that will ultimately result in you dying from cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, stress, anxiety, depression, cancer, make it much more likely that you will die from this infection, from this virus. So that is what I really want to talk about, because I've been talking this message for the last 30 something years. Anybody who has worked in employee well-being, or in school or university health, or any of those kind of spaces, you'll know that it's your go-to slide. Somewhere in the first 2 or 3 slides in your presentation will be the chronic disease burden facing the world. And I've done this, I don't know, thousands of times. And you kind of get people going, wow, I didn't realize that. That's interesting. And nothing changes. So I found a presentation that I had done in 1995, which said, wow, look, the chronic disease burden that can be addressed by physical activity and lifestyle modification. So the question that I kind of asked was this one: what the hell have we been doing? And is it not time to do something different? And that, I believe, absolutely. My colleague and friend Kevin Payne, who's the CEO of Technogym South Africa, I know this bothered him. It bothered him that I wasn't angry about the fact that we are still in 2019 dealing with this chronic disease burden, that we've yet to make a fundamental shift in the way we do things, and people are still dying from disease that they do not need to die from. And today they are dying from COVID-19 because of the same conditions. So we have not yet found the way to help people change their lifestyles, and people are still dying in record numbers. So that's the conversation that I would really like to have. I'd like to use this digital forum, and this which is new for me, to have a conversation with people. I've had the privilege of working with amazing people over the last 30 odd years, and I would love to hear from them. And so over the next few days, I'd like to take a shot at presenting a model for doing things differently. So the other book that changed my life is the one on the right, and that's called The Innovator's Prescription. It was written by a guy called Clayton Christensen, And this book was given to me by Kevin Payne. He gave it to me in 2019, around about April or May last year. And I read it also cover to cover. And in that book, I use the word epiphany very, very carefully, but I certainly had an epiphany reading this book, because there was a model on, page 428, I think, if you do have the book. I think that's the page number even. There's almost a handwritten model in which Mr. Christensen, really presents an alternative healthcare model. And that changed the direction of my life again, because in July last year, we were a services company. We had built a bunch of services in the prevention space, really focused around physical activity, into a solutions business, because we needed to help our customers build solutions for their own business, and that's today what we do, or certainly what I did 2 weeks ago. I don't know what I'll be doing in 2 weeks' time. But the bottom line is, I'm watching that model come together in front of my eyes. So I hate, I don't want to. This is not a preaching session. This is not a wringing of hands and going, what the hell have we been doing? As much as it is, I think there's an alternative. And I think this unprecedented place that we find ourselves in means that we need to start thinking about an alternative healthcare model. So I'd like to unpack that model. And Mr. Christensen, if I hope I don't butcher it. I really do. And if you ever hear this, and if you ever see this, and you think I am butchering it, please tell me so. But if you're involved in healthcare in any way, and you have an interest or an opinion, I would really appreciate hearing from you. And maybe we can spark a conversation. Maybe we can talk about doing things differently and making sure that we can stop people dying from conditions they don't need to die from. By doing some really, really simple things. So please join me, and let's have a conversation about coming out of this this horrible situation, with a plan to do things differently going forward. So yeah, if you know someone and you happen to hear this, and you know somebody who may have an opinion or may benefit, or please share it with him, and I will chat to you all tomorrow. Take care.